Hello, yet another video on personal interview. In this video, I'll discuss how does one prepare for career related questions. A very common question being, why do you want to do an MBA? Or it could be what are your short-term goals, what are your long-term career plans. Sometimes they put a number to it, where do you see yourself 10 years from now or 15 years from now. There could even be a very open-ended question, like I was asked in my IIM Calcutta interview, what does success mean to you? Right? On the same lines, to continue the discussion, there could be questions like, why do you want to do an MBA after engineering? If you're a fresher, they could ask you, why do you want to do an MBA right after your graduation? Why not work for a couple of years? There could be questions like, what specialization do you want to do? And there could also be a question like, if you're not selected, then what are your plans? Right? So let's see how do we prepare for these questions. So I'll come directly to the ideal way of answering any question related to a career. Currently, I'm at point A. I have certain employability, certain earning potential, skill sets, capabilities. And looking down the line 20 years hence, I want to be at point B. And what is that point B? One of a very common thing is, let's look at it in terms of financial assets. Right? There are many more aspects which I'll shortly discuss, but let's just say there's a distance that I need to travel from point A to B. And there are many paths from A to B. You need to tell the panel how MBA is the most efficient path to reach point B. As simple as that. Very easy logical answer. So the crux of it is now, where do you want to reach? And while all of us have some mental image, some idea about where we want to reach. All of us have that idea. All of us also have, some consciously chosen to spend that 1 year, 2 years working very hard in clearing CAT. So I'm sure you have made a choice of MBA, right? So what I'm hinting at is, I don't know why do students fear this question so much. You just need to go back, reflect. You need to put that image that you have in your mind of what it is that you want to, where do you want to be. You have to link that goal to the MBA path, and which you have already done in my messages, right? You just need to put it across. So first, remove all mystery from the process. It's not a very difficult answer, students. It's a very easy answer. And so one of the very, very common reason and also objection to this, when I say it's an easy answer, is my reason for doing an MBA is money. Can I go ahead and say in an interview that I am doing an MBA for money? Right? Well, nothing stops you from going and telling you want to do an MBA for money, and nor is it negative. Definitely money is a big motivator in all of this. Even when you're at point B, you're evaluating your current employability, earning potential, and at B point, one of the main things is your financial assets that you hold. So money is definitely there. Why this is not a very, very sound logical answer is, you're missing the point that money is not an exclusive domain of MBA. Money can be earned in a lot of ways, lots and lots of ways, and probably earning more than what an average MBA earns. There are many job opportunities where you can earn more money than an average MBA does, right? So what I'm trying to say is there are jobs, like let's take a pilot. A good pilot in India would have an earning of 3.5-4 lakh per month and can reach as high as 6 lakhs per month. Okay, you can start with 1.5 lakh per month, right? I'm just giving you one example. There are many more examples. Yeah, but, anyone. What I'm trying to tell is, it's very short, narrow vision to equate MBA with money or money with MBA. If I'm a chef and I'm a very good chef, a very reputed one, I might earn much more than what an average MBA does. Now again, chef is just an example that I'm giving, right? Or let's say a bank PO person, right, can easily rise up to the position of the chairperson of the bank. Okay, SBI chairperson Arundhati Bhattacharya or whatever started with the bank PO. She started as a probationary officer. She went on, right? So that also she has earned without being an MBA. There are a lot of things there, right? So it's wrong to equate just money with an MBA. So let's look at what are those other things. And again, I don't think so. It's such a difficult thing. What all do we want from a life? So let's come back to this money part. I would just, rather than money being the, as in money, it is better said that it is financial security that I'm looking at. And maybe not just financial security. I can go ahead and I say I want to enjoy financial comforts also. The degree of comfort may be different. For someone, that degree of comfort would only come when he owns 10 different cars. For someone, that comfort might come by owning just 1 or 2 cars. That's enough, right? So, but then so we are talking of financial comforts, no worries on that front. Once that is done, right, then there are other needs that we have as simple as let's say some prestige, a prestigious job, a good visiting card. When I say I'm working at such and such place or so on, people should be in awe. Right? So prestige, the power motivation, I need to be in a driver's seat, and hence people, want to be that CEO rather than just a department head. Right? So the power motivation, prestige, position, the role. Okay, I need to, rather than being a very small cog in a big wheel, I would rather be the prime mover. The role should be such that it should be rich, diverse. I don't want to do repetitive work. These are every one of our needs, right? So do you realize what I'm trying to say? These are very simple things which are common to all of us. You just need to, think a little deeper and voice them out. These prestige, power, reputation, fame, position, these all have to do with outside world. Inside, there could be some accomplishment motivation. I need to feel that because of my job, it is an important job, and I can provide so much of employment. I'm contributing to the growth of whatever, of the whole company, of the country, economy, right? So those accomplishments, motivations. So these are things that you just need to think of, right? Beyond the monetary angle, just. The issue with this is common to all of us. So when you answer, one simple thing could be, you could answer this way, that this is what I want to desire, and how MBA is going to help you achieve that financial stability, how MBA is going to achieve that prestigious job, and it's very easy to mention that, or how MBA is going to help you get a richer role, or a role which gives you a lot of satisfaction. The issue is, it's not a very personal answer. It does not display who I am very clearly for the panel. This answer is common to any and everyone, right? So if you want to strike a chord with the panel, you need to make it a little more personal. You need to add something which separates you from the next person or from the third person, somewhere where the panel understands, okay, now I know what Chandra really needs in his life. These are big broad objectives, let's say, but what sort of prestige, which thing will lead to a prestige, right? Or those kind of details, if you add, it would be excellent. The more clear you are about your career, the more specifics you know about what you want to do, the more easier it is to add the personal touch to the answer. So one of the clarity or specifics are what specialization you want to do. So if I am aware of what specialization I want to do, it's very easy to explain where you want to be. For example, or your entire career plan. For example, if I want to make my career in the marketing domain, it's very easy. I might start off in sales as an area sales manager. I would progress to a regional sales manager, to a country head. I might add up a couple of international marketing stints to it. I might branch out into brand management, starting off with one brand of worth whatever money, or I might end up with a couple of brands managing. I might be handling an entire vertical in a business. The whole range of marketing I'd be looking after as a director. It could be product development, it could be market research, it could be sales and branding and consumer behavior, lots of things, right? It's easier to explain that way. If it is finance, you can easily say you want to be a banker, an investment banker, or you want to be a CFO, into corporate finance. You could add that. If you're clear about you want a general management role, you could, and you aspire to be in the top consultancy firms, you could mention that. The more clear you know, I want a role as a strategic business consultant, or I want a role as a financial or a taxation consultant. The more clear you are, it's easier to explain all these. Right? Or that could be even things like, there are people who are enamored or who want to work in well set up companies, huge big companies, having branches across the world. There are people who want to work in startups, that environment, that gives them the kick of creating something, right? So this is what I'm saying, the personal touch comes into, right? So it's not just specialization, it could also be the industries that you want to work in, like as I said, consultancy firms, or it could be startups, I said, right? It could also be a pure industry. If you have certain background, you could say, I want to make a career in the auto industry, in the oil and gas industry. I don't know what it is in the hospitality sector. There should be some background. A lot of people that I meet are who have some family business or so on, so it's very easy to get that angle into the answer. Or export import, I want to be in that sector. Anything which adds specifics to your answer will get your personal angle involved in it, right? And that is what is wanted. And it's not just about specialization. So I might not be crystal clear about specialization, but then it could be about dream companies, right? So one of my dream companies, I want to work in Google, or I want to work on Amazon. I want to work in, I don't know, whichever company excites you, right? If it is marketing, I think it is going to be Pepsi, or an P&G, or an Hindustan Unilever, HUL. Right? If it is consultants, you can go ahead, name the consultancies. McKinsey, Bain and Company. These are things that make it more specific, clear, right? And they are rich in terms of discussion. But you need to do that research. You need to know the names of the companies. And what is the most easiest source for all these? Go and check the placement profiles of the MBA. Now you'll get to know all the companies that visit there. Right? Okay, so add these things. It may not be specialization, may not be a dream company. It could be personalities. A lot of people get or start thinking about an MBA knowing someone or having read about someone, looking up to someone. So go ahead, mention those people who inspire you to start thinking. Think about the genesis. You read a book about someone, someone came and gave a talk show in your college, you saw someone, like for example, when I was working in after engineering in my company, I was in an industrial setup, and we used to be like dust, black, full, it was ferrite powder and so on, and we had another building which we used to call the White House because it was spick and span white, right? And all the top bosses, managers used to stay out over there, and the top 4 guys over there were from the IIMs, and I was in this plant here. So probably that is what I looked up to, and I said, how do I move from this plant to that office, right? So figure that things out. What is it that prompted you, set the ball rolling, right? I was talking about personalities, right? And they have a very important role in deciding for quite a few people, right? Again, these are also companies, personalities are talking points. Yeah, but you need to do your research. You need to, once the bait is set and the panel picks that up, then it should be your thing. Then you should be able to speak about that person continuously, right? So anyone, Kishore Biyani for retail, maybe Gopinath, he changed the airline whole, dynamics of the airline industry by bringing in budget traveling, right? There could be many things in finance. A lot of people are, motivated about finance, especially by traders, those who make good amount of money and so on, right? Investors, let me not call them traders. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, you read an interview, or maybe the all favorite of everyone's Warren Buffett, but then you should know about all of them, right? So this is how you get your personal angle into it, right? But what if I don't know what specialization I want to do? Is it the case that you're not aware of the specializations, or you're not sure of the specialization? What I want to make a distinction is, I'm not sure, but I am inclined towards one specialization. Is enough, students? Yeah, but no one needs to know by 100% of it, right? And this is about your entire career goal. Even this, where do you want to reach? Remember, today I feel that I want to be an investment banker. And I don't know, maybe 5 years down the line, while I am on that path, I realize or my goals change and now I want to do something very different. It is perfectly fine, and that happens all the time. Okay, so don't take the excuse of that I am not certain. Even if there is an inclination, that is enough for you to act. That is what is guiding you today, your inclination. And as you gain more experience, as you become more, your different viewpoints emerge, you get to know the realities of whatever field you are going to go into, your objectives may change. Big deal. Right? So what I'm trying to say is, you don't need to be certain, but if you have an inclination, I would still say take that risk. Learn more about that whichever specialization you're inclined towards, and go ahead and voice it in an interview. The advantage to be gained by being more clear, by being more precise, specific, is far more than playing it safe and saying that I'm not too certain about it. That doesn't go down very well. Whether it is about long-term goals or whether it's about specialization, anything, right? So, but what if in reality I really don't know anything about the specializations? I'm a fresher, I'm from engineering background, I've only been a studious person. It is only of late that I realize that the potential or whatever I aim for is going to be easily achieved by an MBA rather than just a technical thing. Or else I realized that I could get good marks because I was studious, but my heart doesn't lie in engineering or so on. Right? I don't want to continue in the technical field. So I don't know which specialization. You can still answer the question, but the answer will be in far more general terms now. Describing your career path in general terms would go something like, in the coming 5 years, I would like to first learn all the theoretical subjects related to management. Next 3-4 years, I would like to learn all the practical aspects such that by the end of 5th, 6th year, I am a specialist in the field that I have chosen. From 6 to 10 years, I would like to build a very strong reputation for myself in the company that I'm working. I'd like to put everything that I learned into practice, start managing teams, handle product or projects independently, contribute in business development for the company, that is, bring more business, contribute to the growth of the company's revenues. Beyond 10 years, I would like to be responsible for the profit and loss of a unit I would like to head a business unit at a company. I would like to have a reputation across the industry, participate in various seminars, maybe come and teach at these schools. But you will have to think, how do you convey the idea that you are a popular person. Yeah, participate in some industry bodies like a FICCI or so on. And start being looked upon as a very senior management or leadership role in the company beyond 15 years, such that by the time I am 20 years experience, I could be at a CEO's position. This is how you would describe a general way. As I said, the personal touch is missing, so you would probably have to be creative. I'm just saying all this because I'm saying is that the path is not very mysterious. Yeah, it progresses from one stage to another stage and so on, right? So find ways how do you convey whatever it is that you want to do, and or else it could have a very different angle to it. It could have an angle like, by the time I'm 30 years old, I should have not only should I have paid off my student loan, I should also have invested in a house of my own. Obviously, it would have been, I would have to take a loan for it, but I would do that. By the age of 40, I should have serviced my home loan. I should have good financial security by that time. And by the age of 50, I need to have financial assets. You could put a value to it to the range of 5 crores or 7 crores or 10 crores, whatever it is that you have in mind. Just put some ballpark figures. You could go ahead and say, by the age of 40, 45, I should be able to afford a second vacation home that I want, maybe at a beach or maybe in the hills, right? So you're putting the end result to it. You're not talking about the career per se, but what all that career should do for you, right? It could be you could say, by 50 years old, I should probably be contemplating retirement, and or I should have enough financial assets such that I can think of retirement and get involved into my hobbies of, let's say, music. I would probably start a music school somewhere, or I would like to get into social sector, I would get into rural development, I would want to get into farming, whatever it is, so that I've had a fulfilling career till 50, and now I'm following my interest. So somewhere just be creative, just see what it is. When I said that everyone has that mental image, now not everyone is okay with retiring at 45 or 50 years old. Right? Someone is a workhorse. Someone would want to work like till 70 or so on, right? You see a lot of business leaders. Let's say by the age of 50, I should probably leave off corporate and get into politics. If you want to do something for the society, try that. So, or towards the end. So slowly the progress will happen, and somewhere towards the end, you could say this is your end goal. And the answer need not be as boring or drab as the two examples I just gave. Even in general terms, you could still add a little bit of a spice in, whichever way it could be. Like, for example, it could be these are what I've heard in the previous interviews or so on. It could be as simple as, on the financial front, I should never be worried about the price tag of a product that I want. Yeah, it could be that I would want to be in the high flying corporate career kind of a place where probably by the age of 40 I should have been in 2-3 different countries, in Japan, in Singapore, in Hong Kong, or Europe, whatever it is. Right? Go ahead, say that. Or else it could be the typical corner office, I should be on the same floor as the top bosses are there, right? Or I should have the best office in the best office in the workspace that I have, right? So go ahead, mention those things, whatever it could be, students, right? If there is something this is again, I should be able to afford foreign vacation every year, right? I aim to visit 100 countries, whatever it is that you want, right? So I'm saying your career, the result of a career, you could even mention it in that way, right? And if at all there is something offbeat about your where do you want to reach, then go ahead. It's a gem that you hold in your hand. Go ahead and mention it. What can that offbeat be? It could be anything. Like I did a trek with a person who was from FMS, and he never worked in a corporate world. All he did was he went into adventure sports. Okay, and he runs his own adventure sports company, right? You might call him an entrepreneur, but he's not even as much of an entrepreneur as such. Yeah, he just likes to be an adventurer. He likes to be on treks, he's a mountaineer, right? So he wants to do that. So it could be that ways. So what does an MBA have to do? MBA probably will only act as somewhere which would launch him onto that. He can figure out ways how to make it a productive pursuit, such that he doesn't have to worry about a lot of just the bread and butter kind of a thing, right? So that could be anything offbeat. It could be like obviously entrepreneurship, and it could be you want to work, and by the age of 40, 45, after 50 or so on, you should be so reputed that you could become an independent consultant to companies, right? Or you could become an investor. Yeah, you could be incubating couple of startups. So there are people from the IIMs or so on. Go ahead and do this. Remember all these, whether it is Pepsi's CEO, whether it is Citibank's, whether all these are people who have graduated from these top B schools. And the professors and the panel guys know all this. They've seen all this. So no claim seems outrageous or seems out of place over there, right? It is your drive which is going to help you achieve that, right? So go ahead and make it a little more interesting. Let's next look at those other supporting questions. For example, why do you want to do an MBA after engineering? Now, a lot of engineers are troubled by this. My simple question is, did you take up engineering for the love of engineering? Did you really see yourself, in an engineer's room with all those designing a machine, or in a plant kind of a setup, doing hardcore engineering work? If you did imagine yourself doing that, then it's a pretty valid question. But then for most of us, the answer is very easy. We took up engineering because for a lot of us, our parents made a choice, or the environment that we grew up in, right? Put a sort of idea that engineering is the most sought after career, and if something is sought after, obviously it's an achievement that I did that. But now, when I know where I have to be, Now you'll appreciate why the ideal way is to answer with that end in mind. When I know where I have to be, I realize that probably being an engineer, me reaching that stage is going to be far more laborious and far more uncertain and or inefficient. It will take me a lot of time. But whereas if I'm an MBA, I can reach that much faster. And hence today when I stand, I think I should be doing an MBA rather than be, in financial terms, there's something called a sunk cost. Just because I did a 4 years engineering degree and today I really don't count myself as an engineer, then why should I spend the next 25-30 years because of something I did in the past 4 years, right? I don't know why students are troubled with this question. It has absolutely no logic to it, right? It is only a question for needling you to check whether you get hassled very easily. So I think so there's enough answer in what I just mentioned, yeah. Another question is, what will you do if you're not selected? And more often than not, the answer that a student gives here is that he would take the cat again, or something to this on these lines. So it is a very, very sad answer, to be honest. Couple of reasons. The idea is, the intent of the question is, students, that you don't get selected. That is, if not MBA, then what else? And they're looking at how do you plan to achieve all that you said if MBA does not figure in that, right? It's not something like such a short thing like what will you do the next year, yeah. And so therefore, all these questions, students, you could very easily prepare, provided you know this whole career path of yours, you know where you have to reach or so on. So if you know that, your loyalty does not remain with an MBA. Your loyalty is to that goal where you want to reach. And so one of the easier things is, you would still try to get to whatever you thought about. So for example, if I wanted to be in marketing, then if there's no MBA here, probably I'll take up a B school, whichever I can, if I'm in a hurry, okay, and work my way through sheer good performance in the company. So what can probably MBA can help me reach in 20 years, now I might take 25 years, I might take 30 years. But that is what I'll do. And or else it could simply be, I would start working, I would start gaining my practical experience, and probably after 4 years, 5 years, I would do an executive MBA, or after 4 years of experience, I'll try to do an MBA from a foreign university. Yeah, the competition may not be as tough over there. And so it would just be a little digression for me, that's it. But the goal would still remain here. I would still want to do. So I said consultancy, and I don't get into a top B school. So how do I manage to reach that? You still manage to reach that, student. Maybe that consultancy will not happen after campus interviews so early, but you could still work. Right? You could still get build a reputation for yourself in that field. Right? You might, Deloitte as a consultant does not only recruit for consultancy roles, they recruit in bulk, they recruit in graduation colleges, every college, right? So you could get an entry into the door. You could work your way up, right? So probably you just need to explain to them that is how you try to achieve it. There is a lot of courses these days online, so you'll continue skilling yourself. Yeah, you will learn all what is to be learned in a B school. Probably you learn it online, right? Probably you'll do a certification course, a diploma course, or a part-time thing just so that you have the degree in your hand, right? But at the same time, you're going to invest that much more energy, effort into the job. And if nothing, let's say my goal is that I want to make a career on the Wall Street. Now, even an IIM, first generation IIM student, let's say Ahmedabad, Calcutta, it's very difficult to get a career on the Wall Street even with those credentials. Okay, and it's a rarity. Yeah, it's not just a very easy job, right? And if I don't get to a top B school, then how do I make? Okay, maybe that might be a little extended role, but that doesn't mean that I don't want to do that. But if I don't get an MBA, a simple answer could be maybe I'll just settle for a Dalal Street. Yeah, instead of a Wall Street, right? And I'll work for a local broker. I would work that way. I would obviously, there's a lot more. Maybe I won't work for a top investment house. Maybe I'll become an investor like a Rakesh Junjunwala. He's not a MBA, he's a CA, but he invests for his own money, right, rather than someone else, right? So a similar thing, but may not be with as high, if not the best, the second best I would do then, right? That is how probably this question can be answered. Other questions like, for freshers, why do you want to do an MBA right now? Why not work and then come? Now, these questions again, students are just checking how hassled do you get. It's not that they are suggesting that you go. I've seen students, just not able to defend. They come back blank. Yeah, I think so, he's right. And if the panel is right, then why are you trying right now? Some thoughts would have gone. Now, any thought it could be. It could be as easy a thought as, I'm thinking I finish my education in one go, right? Later on, it's difficult to study, and hence I want to get it done. At least this is a reason. Can you not put this reason to the panel, right? Or it could a very simple thing is, what I'm telling you is that an Indian scenario or an environment does not make it mandatory for work experience for an MBA. Certain programs like an ISB or a Gateway has, so that could be a very easy excuse for yourself, for you, na? That the fact that 20-30% of a batch are freshers means that it is not necessary that one needs to have work experience. I think I would very quickly get onto the career that I want. The 2 years, the job that I can probably get now is that of a coder, is that of a clerical kind of a job, where I don't think so I'm going to learn as much as what as a head start that I'll get by doing an MBA 2 years before. There are many things that you can say. I don't see why we don't put a point across, right? Whatever we are thinking in so here also, I don't want to give you answers. All I'm saying is there are reasons for you to do what you are doing, right? So just go ahead and mention those reasons. They're just looking at how did you arrive at this decision. Yeah, it's not a debate. They're not, you don't have to convince them. You have to just tell them your thought of it, right? Okay, another question, what else can be there is, okay, such and such person or so on is not an MBA, then why do you want to do an MBA? Again, come to think of it, is that, means obviously I'll not tell the panel on the face of them what idiotic question that is, right? But I think you should realize that, it's as simple as thing is, just because X person has not done an MBA and has reached this stage does not mean that Y, Z, P, Q, R, everyone should follow him or his path. Yeah, he might be hero, but that doesn't mean I follow his footsteps right exactly. He's a hero because I like him for his achievement, I like him for his creativity, I like him for visionary, right? So that but then I think so it's a far more safe. I'm not in his shoes. Everyone has a different situation, right? So I would rather I don't have that background of mind where I can take that risk of, just trying out different things. I would first want to, this comes to another reason of why doing an MBA. A lot of people do an MBA because it's a very a program which can suit any sort of career, and it allows a very high safety net, right, for you to experiment in your career. If things fail or so on, you can still depend upon a great management degree, right? So here we are coming to the other advantages of an MBA, right? A great alumni network, for networking, for helping out. So all these things also have small roles to play, right? So here, let me sort of end it with, one more question in this before the end game. Why this B school? Or if you get selected in NMAT and SIBM, which one will you choose? I've seen students go to the extent of finding details about that B school, to the extent of which club functions in that B school, and then the answer comes across this B school has a club called whatever, fire, or they go ahead and they invest, and this, or there's a marketing club over here. Are those really the reasons why you have chosen that institute? And if they aren't really, then why are you trying to convince a panel over something which obviously is not? Are they from Mars? Don't they know why you are applying to those institutes? So, student, let's say the differentiation in the institutes here is not so high in India that you can differentiate because of something that school X has and something that Y does not have. The only way of differentiation in the Indian B schools primarily is because of the reputation that they have, or something which could be very simple, like a location. Or it could be something where you are guided by someone, you took the opinion of someone and that someone suggested this way, and when I asked why is it so, this was the answer and I thought it's rational. For example, I will definitely choose an SP Jain over an MDI, right? Why? Because in most of the rankings, or in most of the talks that I have seen, or wherever I prepared those spoke, they always spoke as SP Jain to be far more prestigious, or at least having a higher reputation than a program from MDI. And so I'm picking up SP Jain. The same thing would go even at an MDI. So if they say, what is it? You saying that I'll pick up MDI over SP Jain, what do you think you're going to earn brownie points, and because of that they're going to select you? Rather they'll say, what, this guy is trying to fool me since then, is it? Right? But you want to be business leaders, and you can't just go ahead and start playing to the gallery kind of thing, students. Please stop those things. So I would probably choose an NMIMS over an SIBM because it's in Mumbai. I've heard that the financial course over there is better. It's a financial capital, so I would choose SIBM because from what I have known, that SIBM is a smaller batch size, NM is large, this has a campus thing. Just go ahead and mention those things. These are facts. Over. Right? I know students who have chosen IIM Kozhikode over IIM Lucknow, and the reason for that person was simple. IIM Kozhikode is in the hills. It's a very nice, that person had that whole holistic profile. He was into sports. He was into lot of travel tours kind of a thing. So it made a lot of sense for him to be over there as holidays rather than Lucknow because of the cold. This is what he told me. I don't want to go to IIM Lucknow because it is chilly. It is cold in the winters over there. I don't, and now again you might say, how silly is that, or so on. Look, between the two, I've already said that they are equal. So now I have to make a decision somehow. So I make a decision. I make a decision based on monetary facts. I make a decision based on such personal preferences. But I don't make a decision based upon the club that is present in the B school, students. Sorry. Yeah. So now the end game. A few answers that are not very great, yeah, and are very commonplace. So any answer that starts with since the beginning I knew, or since school days I wanted to do management, people panel will view it very cynically. Oh, you mean to say when you were in school or since the beginning or wherever that beginning has, you had so much of foresight that you needed to do an MBA. I'm not saying it is wrong. Yeah, it may be your case. You might truly be that sort of person having that idea or so on. But I'm saying it will be viewed very, very cynically unless you don't put a context to it. Unless you don't say, ki, since I remember from schooling, from my choosing my graduation stream, I've always, because of the family background, I've always had this idea that I would be into business management. Right, I would be into business management. So give a context to it. Or I have seen all my uncles, cousins, and so on. They have done MBA from good B schools. They all are in well settled careers. So that is where I started thinking about an MBA. Give a context. Yeah, don't just say since the beginning or since school days I knew I wanted to do a management course. The second answer is that is unacceptable is because I want to study management subjects. Yeah, I want to learn management. So students, here you are doing a course worth 15 lakh, 18 lakh, 20 lakh at IIM Ahmedabad, Calcutta, 30 lakh these days, just to learn those subjects. Again, it is, don't you see that whole process ends after 2 years? You get selected, in 2 years time you learn. So that's the end of the story, is it? Right? You are learning not for the sake of learning. Yeah, I don't think so. Unless you really plan to just keep learning for the next, I don't know, whatever number of years. So you are learning so that you put it to practice. And where do you practice, and why is it that this is the practice that you want to follow? Because it's going to, mean something to you. So that is where this answer falls very shallow. And lastly, the most common answer. In my college days, I was a part of such and such team, or during our fest we organized this stall where we sold lemonades, and this is the sort of profit that we made, business. Or I organized an event and I found that I'm very good with people management skills. Very common answer, students. Long lecture, it's over. By now you should realize what is the drawback in this answer. The drawback in these answers are these can be rationals or personality traits or discoveries that you have made, right, which support you doing a management course. But for that matter, even I wouldn't even accept that. I'm just, trying to be nice to you guys. No. Tell me what career or so on, apart from very few ones, do not need people skill. Almost all careers need people skills, students, yeah, except obviously the ones which are only to do with individual specific scientists, or doctors, or maybe a researcher. But then most other careers, whether you are anywhere, right, you are into public service, even raising kids, even house managing relatives, all of it is a people skill kind of a thing, right? So I'm saying it is again not a very strong reason where you can say that this is why I'm doing an MBA. And remember, MBA is the reason is very less to do with backward looking. even if I found that I'm good in a certain aspect, let's say I realized that I'm good in cracking jokes, then why don't I become a startup comedian? I'm just thinking, do you think there are reasons why I'm good, I have a nice sense of humor or so on? So does that mean that I should become a startup comedian? Think, are there some reasons why I should probably not take up that career? So what I'm trying to say is a career or so on has a lot more going to it than what you did in 1 or 2 years of your, and that to one event that you organized or one festival or a stall that you put up, right? So I wouldn't bank my whole, career choice on those events. They could probably add to later as a personality. I found that I'm more suited to it, but then they can't be the main reason, right? So that is all that I have to say, and hope it has given a lot of ideas. Frame answers, speak out the answers, speak out aloud to a mirror, speak it to yourself. If you are very poor in verbal skills, probably write down the answers. Speak it. I'm saying you don't need to come across as a parrot over there, but then you should also not be searching for words, right? So keep repeating it. When you repeat those answers many times, the language will be slightly different, right? So if I had to do this video again, it's not going to be exactly as if I read from a script, right? But then it is rehearsed, so you know you're not going to fumble for words, you're not going to fumble for ideas. So that is how you keep preparing, right? Good luck, students.